All right, welcome. That changes everything. A semi-regular podcast about whatever we feel like talking about, whenever we feel like talking about something. Host Josh, and with me as always, the meathead, New York City firefighting loving co-host. Hey.
That's right.
All right, so this week we are talking about
What's the guy's name again? Mike?
what's that?
The fire department guy? That's Mike?
Frank.
Frank. Frank.
Frank.
Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, we're talking about sci-fi's new series, Opposite Worlds. Um, so the concept of this show, it's basically kind of like Big Brother, Survivor, kind of a mix. You got like a bunch of people in a house. Like the people on one side's futuristic, got all the luxuries. People on the other side, it's like Survivor, but in a house. So it's got to be a little easier, right?
Except the twist is the audience votes.
So now we got this whole Twitter affects the show. So you got different ways it affects the show. I guess one way we have this popularity index. So you tweet on Twitter, you talk about who you like, who you don't like. The people who are most popular get prizes. The people who are the least popular get fucked over. What do you think about that?
I wonder where the host would be if you were allowed to put him on that list. That schmarmy douchebag. What's his name?
You know what? That's a good point. That's funny. That's the one thing I don't know. I heard though that he's kind of like a survivalist. Like he's been doing this. Like I think I'm sure he's popular in Australia.
England. Bloody England.
Is he Australia? He's Australian,
Yeah,
right?
he's Australian or New Zealand or something like that.
Right.
You can tell because he calls you mate.
Yeah.
Hey, mate.
Yeah. When the guy was crying today, he's like it was a sad mate. Oh, mate.
Oh, mate.
So we were going to start this a while ago. Obviously, we're about three shows in right now, so we're going to go back. Let's talk about.
And you know they stole this show from Chile, right?
Oh, is that where? No, I didn't know that. Is that where it started?
Yeah, they have a show like this in Chile called the same thing.
We still are good reality shows from somewhere. So that's
I
nice.
forgot you asked me. You asked me what I thought about the Twitter index. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they'd be able to figure it out.
Yeah, no, and we were talking about this before. I'm watching it now, and it seems to be jumping all over the place. It seems like it's like any given day, someone could be at the top or the bottom. But it actually does seem like Lauren and Angela keep staying at the top, and Frank and Jesse and Lizette definitely seem to be sticking to the bottom.
Well, they say negative tweets can move you down the list, but how do they determine what's a positive and negative tweet? Obviously, they don't have people sitting there reading them all. So
Well,
how
see,
does
this
their
is where this popularity index comes in, and supposedly I'm sure they have thousands of words that they put into like a positive, score, and then more positive words that goes into more positive score. So it's like if your tweet's more like positive and you're talking about a certain person, then you're going to go up the list. And if you're talking about a certain person and there's like more negative words and things in there, then and I think it's going to go to the bottom.
Yeah, but what if somebody's saying like, I would really hate if so and so died because they don't suck at all.
It's
That
see,
would be a
see,
negative tweet.
figure it out. Yeah, know, see, I thought the same thing, but it does seem. I mean, if you look, like the people that I think would be at the bottom are at the bottom, and people you think would be at the top are at the top. So it seems to be working.
That's just because you're agreeing with it. I don't agree with it. Why is
That's
Frank the Tank at the bottom? Frank's the best.
See, Jesse's now number 11 right now. I like that. I think he should be at the bottom. And it's funny. You're kind of starting to turn me. I hated Frank like everyone else does, but you're starting to turn me. I rewatched the episode today with Diane, and she was like, "Oh, I fucking hate that guy," and I'm like thinking like, "Oh, this is great. I think he's making this so funny."
He does though. He's just
If
a
you
nutball, you know. He's all crazy. He's
absolutely,
like, I guarantee a win today. And he just
yeah.
gets out there and starts nailing people with tomatoes.
All right, so we should get to that. But
Right,
okay,
right. You wanted to go back. I'm sorry.
let's real quick. Let's just review like real quick and try to get through the
I
first
don't
couple.
even remember the first episode.
So okay, well, I mean, okay, so let's see. Let's see.
The
Okay,
the
well,
one marine
one
guy
thing I
broke
want
his
to ask
leg.
you. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The black guy broke his leg. I called it. Black guy
Yeah.
float out first.
Well, before that, real quick, okay, what are your thoughts like on like the living editions and specifically on the future side? I think it's a lot more interesting what's going on that side, even though as far as like the living conditions goes, like they have the cool toilet, they have the awesome showers, and they have these sheets that
That's what I was gonna
supposedly
say. The sheets were what I
the
thought were
sheets.
cool.
That was the only thing that I keep thinking about. Like, oh my god, these sheets. So supposedly, like at night, when if you start getting too hot, they cool down and they keep you cool, and it somehow figures out your body's temperature and lets you, finds out like a perfect temperature for you.
Those are some rich people sheets right there.
Damn, I want that.
Yeah, they got some pretty cool stuff over there, dude. I like their little area. Plus, they get the best layouts of all the food. I mean, even when the past gets their food, it's like not really that good. I mean, a bunch of turkey legs. Come on, man. I'd rather have a bunch of seafood and sushi and all that stuff they're eating over there.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about that later too. But I was thinking the same thing today and Diane brought that up too. Like she was like, "Oh man," she's like, "I would like that on the future side." Sure, that's some fucking turkey legs. That sounds awesome. So okay, yeah, and I mean, and it looks great. I want to those. I want to just take a shower in that friggin' shower, man. That looks awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. I forget what the shower looked like, but I
Well,
remember it was
it's like
cool.
it looks like I think it's got like a like button you touch. So like when you start it up, like it's not see through anymore. Like they fog up.
Oh, right, and you have all the temperature controls and a radio, and they said it has like pheromones in it that wake you up or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and all multiple like shower heads everywhere. So you're just oh man, that looks great. So okay, so and then opposite like okay, like they just it looks like Survivor, but maybe a little bit more plush because it's like kind of temperature controlled slightly, even though they're cold.
Yeah, everyone's freezing their ass off in this game. Even when the future people come out in the front yard, they're like shivering.
Right. See, and I saw an interview with the host, and I don't know his name, but he was saying that they do keep it cold on that side, specifically, so it's like harder living, and they have to keep the fire going and that kind of thing.
But it seems like outside the house, in the present, as they call it,
Hmm.
it seems very cold there.
See, and I think this is being just filmed in L.A. and I mean it's been cold around here. So it's not that cold though, but a lot of these people are from California, so maybe that's why they think it's cold.
Can I ask why they do all the challenges at night?
Well, they do the live challenge at night because that's what the time the show's on is what I'm assuming. I mean they're on late. They're on at 10 o'clock. So and that's the only live, really truly live part of the show. But that'll be tonight.
Oh,
At
right, the elimination competition is the live. That's really the only live part, leading up to it, and then that.
yeah, and it's been cold here. I mean, obviously, if you're living anywhere else
Are you sure they film it here?
in the world, then you're thinking we're crazy because it's not cold here at all. But I think they do. I think they do. Yeah.
Because I was like, where are they? England?
No, 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 no. I'm pretty sure they film it in L.A.
The
But
Ukraine?
we'll figure that out too. Yet again, for a second podcast, and like we should have done our homework again, but
I read that it was from Chile.
right I know that was good. Okay, so let's see the first challenge. Now, shit, I'm trying to
Oh
remember the
yeah,
first.
going into this challenge, this is the shocker one, right?
Yeah, the shock one. Oh,
I was
perfect. Okay.
totally stoked. I was like, this show is awesome. They got fucking tasers. They're gonna tase the shit out of each other. But
Absolutely.
but then when the competition got going, the tasers seemed to be a non-issue. I didn't see anyone getting fucked up by them.
No, and we were talking about that too. It's you exactly like right away you're like, oh wow, like this show is crazy, awesome,
Yeah.
and exactly like those first two girls like were kind of hitting each other with it, And then at one point, it just seemed like they just started blocking it, and more just it came about. Like it seemed to be more about like getting just knocking the person off as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, if that was a real taser, you get fucked up if that thing touched you.
Well, obviously they had to set him, to a lower setting. You know,
Well, I was hoping it would be like a real taser, because then if you got touched by it, you would just be out. You'd like and falling and flopping on the ground and stuff.
the top.
It would have been great.
Yeah, no, that would have been a really good. But well, regardless, I mean, you had two injuries at least right there in the beginning, right in the first challenge.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's not so bad, but they started blaming the other guy who tackled the guy. What's wrong? He tackled him. They fell off. The guy broke his leg. Big deal. It's not homie's fault. The guy broke his leg. They were in a competition. You know?
Right, and that was Jesse.
Yeah,
That was
Jesse,
yeah,
the
the
hairstylist slash makeup artist
male
or whatever
model
he
slash
is.
possible actor. I'm
That's why
assuming
the guy was like, "There's no mirrors and hair gel over here."
that was Gary Line. Yeah, I'm wondering if this guy's an actor. Sometimes, like I don't know, he seems a little too coiffed. I don't know.
Maybe there will be a twist at the end. They're like, "Oh, by the way, half of these people are actors."
So right, and so what are your thoughts on like? So the guy said they're saying like he and they, like the producers and the host made a point to say, well, he hadn't completely crossed over the line yet, but yet they didn't show the replay. That was really bugging me. I mean, like
Especially when Jesse says at some point he says he did cross over, so there's an argument about who crossed over and who didn't.
and when I saw it initially, I thought he had crossed over. I didn't think that he hadn't crossed over.
Dude, I'm gonna go and watch that again now that you said that.
Well, yeah, well, see, and but that kind of brings my point is that like they have a lot of cameras there, and they really never did like show you a good replay of what happened there.
I think
And
whoever's editing this thing is doing a horrible job at time management. A lot of wasted time, a lot of replaying of the same stuff.
well, yeah,
I need to fire whoever that is immediately.
yeah, I want to see more what's going on in the house. More like, I mean, why they didn't really show that. If they're going to bring up some drama like that, then kind of just get into it a little bit. Like, show me what happened.
Show me what actually happened with the foot. Yeah.
And they're showing that the other team definitely thinks that it was a cheap shot, but
They just want to keep egging it on.
as an audience, we need to know what really happened. I mean,
And surprise, surprise, all of America voted the decider vote
Jr.
for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
to let them, basically win it.
right,
Because they're like, those other guys, they're a bunch of cheap shots.
right. Well, yeah, they let them choose the deciders.
I want to go
So.
watch that right now, dude.
So and then afterwards you had that Wyatt guy crying about his about that guy breaking his leg. Did you see that?
I don't know if I remember that or not.
Big guy, like the big white guy,
Yeah, I know he is. He's JR's only other buddy now that the black guy's gone.
So okay, and that episode ended up being Lizette or JR. The team's going to decide who they want to put up, basically to as the decider, which gives them immunity, right? And so Lisette or JR, like that seemed an interesting choice there. I wasn't sure why the teams chose those people, but obviously it was perfect for Team Epoch there because
I
seems
think
like
whoever they put up would have got voted for, though.
exactly. It seems like no matter what they do, they're gonna be at the top there. And I think this show is gonna have that. I don't know whether it's a flaw or that it just is something to be expected. If they bring it back, it's like whatever team is on the past side of the house and has been there for at least a week or two. You want to see them switch.
Of course, yeah, the audience wants to see something different.
Right.
And these people are all taking it personally, like, why are we all on the bottom? It's because you're in the future house. They want to see you guys how you handle the past.
Yeah.
But,
So real quick, I mean, so do you have any real quick? Do you have any like favorite players?
Frank, I like him.
Yeah.
And let's see. I don't like the JR guy. I don't like the
Okay.
white guy. I don't like any of the chicks really.
No,
Uh,
not Laura, not Angela. The girl, we got Lauren is the one who's the decider this week. The blonde girl who was doing real good in the thing, or the girl, or Angela, the one who did the water challenge, like going up and down
the
the
only
hump.
girl I liked was the video game girl.
The video game girl. Oh yeah, which one was? Oh yeah, she's on the other
She's the
side.
one who got voted out or whatever.
Off right away. Yeah, that's funny. I liked her too. She got voted off right
She
away.
loses in that challenge on the first one. In the
Uh,
water, remember? Like she just stopped. She said the water
absolutely.
was too cold.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't think she was gonna. Didn't really have a chance in that either.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of stupid. The water's so cold that people can't even really compete, you know? They're
Yeah.
just like so cold and out of breath. They're like, fuck this.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the next challenge is. I'm assuming it's not gonna have anything to do with water.
Yeah, I know, right? I thought this challenge that they had today was probably the best one so far with the tomatoes and the knots and stuff.
Yeah, definitely the best challenge so far. Like, I mean, that first one seemed like it was going to be good, but it ended up not being that great. And truthfully, that second live episode, I found it boring. You know.
I'm afraid they're gonna keep doing this where they split it up into two episodes and it's a complete waste of time.
Well, no, they are. There's going to be 2 episodes a week for 6 weeks.
Wow.
We got 4 more weeks of it. Yeah,
And then what, it's over?
and that's it. That's it. Yeah.
They're gonna have to start knocking out more people or something.
Oh yeah, they'll do something. They'll figure something out. I'm sure. Yeah, no, because it's supposed to be a 6 week show, as far as
Well,
I
that
know.
second live show is just like 40 minutes of hype and then they come out and do the event. It's like they could have just thrown the event at the end of the other one.
Right, or exactly, or we could just see
A
and we should
live show, yeah.
what's happening live in the house too. They're not showing that very much.
Exactly, dude. What the fuck?
Okay, so let's move on to this new episode today. We got these new players. What do you think about the new players? We have let's see, Mercy on team. Oh gosh, what is the name of the future team? I can just keep calling it
Chronos.
Kronos. Yeah, the Greek god of time there,
I
and
call them the Jetsons, like they said. The Jetsons and the Flintstones.
the Flintstones. There we go. And we got Steve on the Flintstones. Any thoughts about the two new players?
They both seem pretty dedicated. I don't understand why reality shows do this. They bring people in after all the alliances have been formed, and it's like that person's going to be on the outs. The first elimination, I don't care how cool they are, that person's gone because they're not as tight with everyone else's, you know? So
Yeah.
it makes no sense to me when they do shit like that. I was like, oh, cool, two people that'll be gone next, and we're just waste a bunch of time, and then we gotta go back right to where we were. So it's kind of like backtracking.
Yeah, especially this. I mean, they're there 6 weeks. They've already been in the house a week.
And this is
So
short too. It's like, why didn't you just bring these people in at the beginning? Why do you bring them in week two? I guess like I don't understand.
yeah, I'm looking at Steve. He's the guy who got hit in the face.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But I'm surprised he's not further up on the list after that.
He probably will be eventually.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
after tomorrow or something.
So exactly. You got the nerdy guy who says he's athletic. You couldn't see it in that in that particular challenge, but maybe tonight.
Yeah, I mean, even the host was telling him, "Hey, just duck your head and you won't get hit in the face with tomatoes."
Yeah, well, that was a little bit too late there on that advice.
I mean, why is the guy trying to catch a tomato in the face anyway? I don't know.
Frank was out there trying to hurt people, but
Good job, Frank.
yeah.
See now, I know a lot of people are rooting for the underdog in this show. Not me. As one of the shows where I'm rooting for the future team. I'm like, I hope they stay in the future side the whole time and kick the shit out of that other team. I hope they injure them and fuck them up as much as possible because they're a bunch of little crybaby little bitches anyway.
Well,
Pussies.
it's funny because I was thinking that in the beginning, but it's like specifically this week. Well, after they lost that challenge and
I
the other.
was laughing. I was like, "Ha! In your face, losers!"
Well, no. I'm talking about when Kronos lost and when Epoch like were eating the turkey legs, and like they were so happy that they won, and their team was in there like why are they so happy? Like all mad.
They were kind of butthurt. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh come on,
It's
like
like, wow, you lost one and you're gonna complain about it.
they're eating whatever they want over there, like drinking.
I think it would be interesting to see him switch sides. I do, but I would rather just see those guys get crushed.
How about they switch sides one week, but then
Get right
boom,
back. Yeah,
they're
I'm
right
with you.
back, just like for the rest of the show.
Well, I think it's interesting to show that the people that have all the stuff they need, like the pheromones in the shower and the special sheets to help them sleep better, I think it's interesting to see that that's kind of like more effective than everybody rallying together and being like, yeah, we're gonna do it this time, guys. We're a team, we go through the struggle together. It looks like the luxuries are beating out the strife.
Right, yeah, and I think a lot of that, and I thought about that too, but I mean, God, it seemed like their strategy was just so bad. They had all the girls out there throwing tomatoes, and I see like Frank was like throwing some crazy tomatoes,
Like he
but
was he was throwing like fastballs, dude.
you got to imagine though, if all the girls are out there, he would have like held back a little bit. Do you think?
Exactly, exactly. If he was shooting at a bunch of girls, he would
Yeah.
not be nailing them the way he was nailing those guys.
And JR made him mad. He got smacked real good, like in the back of the thigh at one point, and I think he was like, oh, nice throw, you throw like a pussy or something, and then after that, Frank was like,
He's
oh,
just
really?
winging them. Yeah, you don't say that
And,
to a guy like Frank.
he like literally was just targeted JR and was just beaming him, you
To
know.
Frank, that means, hey, now I'm gonna prove to you that you're wrong. I'm gonna mess you up.
You want to see how hard I can hit you?
Yeah, it's like no mercy, buddy. You asked for it.
It was funny though, because like right about halfway through, you could tell his arm was like he got real tired. He was throwing his arm
Yeah, he
out.
started getting tuckered out, dude. He was like breathing
He
hard
started
on me.
yelling at Jesse. He's like, "You're letting the girls beat you."
Yeah, he's like, I'll do it. I'll help with some moral support. Jesse, you suck.
What? All right, that's where like the guy's not very smart.
Jesse's like, leave me alone, you idiot. Throw some tomatoes. And like
Yeah,
Jesse's not the sharpest knife in the drawer either, He's like fucking the hairstylist guy,
right.
pretty
Yeah,
boy and shit.
and like I mean, it seemed like you could have. I mean, no, I didn't get this specifically, but like it seemed like right away they had a strategy. That like the girls ran out, Frank ran out, and Jeffrey ran out. And they all started throwing tomatoes. But could you switch in the middle? Because I think you could. Because towards the end, it seemed like the girls who were throwing
Whatever the hell
finally
you want,
came
yeah.
in.
Well,
But it was
yeah,
like
they
wait,
even ran in to help with the ropes. They stopped throwing tomatoes and started helping with the ropes.
yeah, but it was way too late. Like they
Yeah.
should have done
Well,
it
you're
all
right
over.
about the strategy of this Epoch team or whatever they're called because the first thing they did wrong, should have had a girl up on that thing. Girls are just not as good at untying knots and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Have a girl up there, let the new guy untie the ropes, man. He's a young guy. He probably figure it out.
Yep.
You know.
I don't think I would have had anybody out there throwing tomatoes at first. I would have
Plus,
just been doing knots.
plus, if Frank's throwing tomatoes, he's not gonna wing them so hard at the girl that's tied up there.
I
He
agree.
nailed that dude right in the face, but he wouldn't have done that to a girl. And then again, like you said, having the girls do the tomatoes, they can't even throw. They weren't even affecting the other team because they can't even throw them hard enough.
There
Have
was no. They didn't affect them at all.
have a couple guys out there bring the girls back. Then Frank's gonna take it easier on those girls, and then all he's got for targets are girls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought, why the hell are you throwing them at the people? Throw the tomatoes at the ropes. Throw them at the knots. Then when they're trying to take the knots out, it's all covered in tomatoes and all slippery, and they can't do it.
Or try to hit their hands.
Yeah, hit them in the hand so their hand hurts.
Yeah, he got one. I think he got Lauren. Yeah, Lauren was the one who was kicking ass in that challenge. Who ended up, the only other girl who was helping out Wyatt, who
Right.
who was sitting there like a dumbass. Did you see how when he grabbed that rope, the rope that
And
he stayed
rolled
off
it up.
and started clumping it up again, like yeah, rolling it up in his out. What the hell was he? I look how she was yelling, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, because that rope has to go back through the knot over and
But
over
that was
again.
Angela. That was Angela doing that.
Yeah, you can't have the rope like that. It's got to go back through the knot and then pull it through and back through the
Of
knot and pull it
course.
through. Like, what are you doing, you retard?
he sat there forever, like with it, like duh, like he did not figure it
Yeah,
out.
and then she was yelling at him to leave her alone, and he's just standing there, and like she's like, "Just fuck off, asshole."
Now, yeah, no, so like, was it all tied like from one hand to the next or the next, or could he have jumped up and started working on another hand while she was working on that? It looked like you had to do one at a time.
I don't know if they had to do one at a time or not. They had people on both sides. It seemed like.
Right.
I don't know. I think he could have worked on one while she worked on the other. I don't know.
Yeah, because at some point he was just standing behind her, exactly, just doing nothing.
Yeah, he's pretty worthless, dude. Then he got all drunk. Then he gets picked for
Yeah.
the reward when he didn't even do shit.
Okay, so yeah, exactly.
I'm
So
sure the girls were pissed about that. They're like, "Oh yeah, the dumbass who didn't even help.
yeah,
He gets to go on the reward. Oh, that's real fair, JR."
yeah, that was pretty
Am I
funny.
the only one that thinks JR is a huge douche? I hate
Yeah,
that
you know
guy.
what? I kind of agree with you. I was really surprised that he ended up being the most popular. I'm assuming
Me
maybe.
too. I was like, "What? JR? That guy's stupid as hell."
Yeah, I liked him more like after watching it a second time though. But I mean, if you got to choose somebody on that team, like I said, I do like Angela and Lauren though too.
I would pick one of the girls just because the two guys are such douchebags.
Yeah, and I'm kind of liking the new guy actually too. So we'll
Well,
see.
see, that's another thing about this show. It's really hard to like a lot of the characters because, for one, we don't know a lot about them,
Yeah.
and for two, a lot of them seem pretty stupid and shitty.
Well, and for a 2 hour show, they're really not showing enough
Not
of
much
what.
is going on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like an hour at least is getting wasted out of every 2 hours. You know,
Yeah, for
like
2 hours a week, they're really they're not
there's
showing
like
you
a
like
half hour of content in there, if that.
absolutely. It does seem like it.
I hope it gets better. Than I was hoping that fucking 2 episode thing was just a premiere, and then they'd start being 1 episode a week because of just wasted time. I gotta watch it one night and then wait the next night and watch freaking 40 minutes of them hyping up something and that it's over in 5 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean if they did it right, they could really use those 2 hours right, I think, and show you a lot more content, show you what's going on in the house. I want to see what they're talking about, even when it's boring. Maybe give them like little things to do, like in the off time. I mean, they're there for a week, in between shows, basically, and
I think
you know,
Crocodile Dundee needs to call Jeff Probst and
exactly.
and be like, "Hey, I'm kind of trying to do this show, homie, and I suck at it."
Yeah, fortunately, they're already ripping him off, so I don't think he's gonna help.
I know even some of the stuff he says is like just straight quotes from Survivor. The host
Yeah.
just like repeats the stuff Jeff says during the challenges, except in a shitty Australian accent that makes you want to punch him in the face. God, I hate that guy.
All right. So okay. So and then you got Jr. and Jeffrey, the two guys on the opposite teams that have the alliance. Okay.
Yeah, I
And
thought that was lame as hell too.
so, but you know what? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. The, this Jeffrey guy's the only one who's actually playing the game. He seems like the only one who knows what this kind of game. I mean, this it does seem like it's a social game because your team has to pick who goes up to be the decider. Your team's going to pick who is the person who is
But is there
has.
any? It's not like Survivor. Like there's not gonna be a merge or anything. Like.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know though.
But I don't think. I think it's like just the two teams. I don't think there's like gonna merge at the end and then everybody does singular challenges, are they?
Right. Well, it's very possible. And I don't think they'd really be showing that as much if they didn't have something like if it didn't affect it somehow.
And there's definitely not gonna be two like Like it's either going to go down to individuals or, they're not going to break up into two more teams and somehow Jeffrey and JR end up on the same team and then their alliance is all right, we did it, we're so smart, it's
Well,
almost
when you
like the Jeffrey guy is just shooting in the dark because he saw a few episodes of Survivor and he's like, "Oh, maybe I should try to make a move. I'm not really sure what
you know
kind
what
of move would be
when you're the
good, but
when you're the decider, you're able to choose who goes up in the challenge. So if you have an alliance with somebody on the other team and you never choose them to go up, then you have a slight advantage there.
yeah, that's a long shot, man. I mean, what are the
Yeah.
odds? That
Well, I think
that
they just need.
Jeffrey's going to be the decider, and that JR's going to be one that he's considering, and
If they got like one more person off of each team to join it was like more like a four-person alliance. And then if either person on were like became the decider, then they never chose those two people on the other team, then that would work a lot better, I think.
But
But
in the end, the decider gets chosen by the public. So you think?
yeah, but exactly. But who gets to go up there in the first place is chosen by the team. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I think that the public would vote for the like most shadiest dramatic person to go up to just to see the most interesting show.
yeah, you should, and it should be like that. Absolutely. So who would that be?
Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
Plus, he starts crying when they gets voted last. He's like, "Oh, America hates me. Why?"
So yeah, what do you think about this? Like them being able to throw food over the wall?
I found that interesting. I was like, "Wow, there's an opening at the top. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. That's kind of freaking weird, you know?"
So I'm surprised Wyatt didn't just, instead of just leaving shit on the ground, he didn't just throw shit over the fucking wall.
I know, right? If they get pissed, can they just start throwing shit at him? That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was like, it was weird how Jeffrey and JR both kind of like, hey, what's up? Are they both like gay or something? You know, I don't get it.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think that when they had that opportunity to be able to talk, like he was the only, or like JR was the guy picked on his team, and Jeffrey was the only guy on the other team who had any kind of strategy. So he was pretty much, I mean, he really didn't have any other choice but to talk to JR.
So I consider Jeffrey like one of the female players, pretty much. I mean,
All right.
he doesn't seem to bring a lot to the table.
So do you think that's why that's part of the reason he was voted the least popular?
Because he's worthless? Yeah, maybe. I think it's because he's betraying his team.
Right. Absolutely.
People don't like that about him.
Yeah.
They like to see it happen, they just don't like him for doing it.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. So yeah. Exactly. We'll come back. We'll finish off like after like the live show. We'll see what happens tonight. So maybe we'll actually use our Twitter account once here a couple times and tweet out what we both think about some of these players today.
Plug our Twitter account for people.
Right. So yeah. So we got at TCE Podcast. That changes everything. So that at TCE Podcast. You can get a hold of us there if you have any questions. If anybody actually listens to this show, just be like, "Holy shit, I heard it." Even if you hate it, be like, "You guys are dicks. You guys suck. You guys are fags." Like whatever.
Especially BP.
And we got a email account. It's at thatchangeseverything. That's at gmail.com. You can also get a hold of us there.
And we'll probably make a Facebook or a web page or something soon.
Yeah, we should actually try to do something else. That maybe a Facebook, but we'll see if anybody actually listens.
I doubt it.
It's up on YouTube though too, so we're gonna try to put up that changes everything YouTube. But for now, Brian, what's your YouTube?
I'll have to edit that in somehow because I don't remember.
Okay, but if you search that changes everything. Blood versus Water was our first podcast. If you put that in, it'll pop up. Or just that changes everything and opposite worlds. It should pop up there. Just look for BP and Josh. You'll find it if you're actually looking. So, other than that, we'll see you next time. I'm Josh.
All right, BP out.
Later.
Hey everyone, BP here. I just wanted to say check out our website for more information and links to our podcast, tcecast.com. That's tcecast.com. Thanks for listening.